So normally, the astrology does not align with the holidays or the events that we have created for the Gregorian calendar. However, there are times, such as this week, where the astrology is extremely supportive of the themes that the collective will have front of mind at large with the new year in our midst. So welcome to this week's Starot talk. I took a little bit of a break and I'm really excited to be back to talk about this first week of January because I think it's really setting the stage for having us consider and contemplate exactly how we want to move into this new year, what our new commitments and priorities are, or at the very least, let go of what isn't already working. It's actually quite interesting because due to the retrogrades of Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus, we are starting off this year very much on the same tone that we did 2025. Think back to what the beginning of 2025 felt like. You might find that there are certain themes that are pretty similar, or that you're in an oddly familiar place in your life, except you now have perhaps the wisdom or the foresight to move a little bit differently. And it's not identical, of course, but a lot of the same themes are at play, again, due to these outer planets having gone out of Pisces into Aries and then come back into Pisces. And of course, the inner planets are going to go through the motions, Capricorn, Aquarius. So again, very similar tone that we're in, but a lot has happened. I personally do not believe that the beginning of the year is January 1st. I like to follow the solstices, and so the winter solstice, usually December 22nd, is the darkest point of the year and where we start to gain light and momentum. Then we have the spring equinox, which is when life is at its fullest bloom and everything is going to begin to flourish. For me, those are like the two markers of like a new year. I almost see the winter solstice as the prep work. I see January 1st as a check-in. And by the time I get to the spring equinox, I'm like, okay, happy new year to me. This is when I am starting my new chapter. And so if you also have a really difficult time abiding by man-made time systems, then if that's a template that you resonate with, please feel free to experiment with it. But that doesn't take away the importance of January 1st because obviously everyone on a world stage level, for the most part, recognizes that this is the threshold for a new cycle, a new year, and we're kind of just going with the flow with it, right? So with that, we start off Monday the 29th with Mars in Capricorn making a sextile to the North Node in Pisces. Fun fact, this is happening at the 11th degree of Mars being in Capricorn. And obviously the North Node is in the 11th degree. So 1111, angel numbers do not have anything to do with the astrology. I just think that it's pretty serendipitous. There's a real sense of action and purpose and drive that is coming into your life for you to move towards your dreams and the path that you know you want to walk. This is a moment that presents you with significant strategies to support you in your long-term visions and dreams. And it might be worth it to meditate on what does the version of me who has arrived to the place or to the thing that I am working towards move? How does this version of me breathe? What are their mannerisms like? What is their activity like? Do they go to the gym every now and again? Do they go to the gym every day? Are they strong? Do they take long, deep breaths? Are they fast in how they walk through the world? Are they slow? Do they even consider these things? How do you envision that the version of you that you are projecting out into your dream life will move? Because if you can bring in those mannerisms, if you can bring in how you would imagine that version of yourself breathing and sleeping and taking action, then you can embody it and you can start to show your nervous system, hey, on an internal level, we're already shifting into this version of self. We need everything else in the external to catch up because look, I am already that person, so the reality must reflect it. So I like Monday for starting to ramp up our consideration of how to marry this dream that we might have with the present reality that we are living in. On Tuesday the 30th, we have Mercury in Sagittarius making a square to Saturn in Pisces. This happened actually in November, when we had all of those flight delays, when there was chaos in governmental structures, when there was a decrease in data focused logical thinking and a lean into creative out of the box ideas. Well, this squares back, and so what this offers us in this moment is a opportunity to think outside of the box in the areas of our life containing Sagittarius and Pisces that might be challenging our feelings of freedom, our feelings of creativity and expansion, with outdated structures or systems that are in place that are starting to feel murky, that are blurring boundaries within our own life. There might be a theme of you wanting to freely express your ideas and communications to an authority figure that's kind of just not having it. And that's where you have to get creative and think, okay, well then how can I mitigate, or how can I problem solve this clash of energies? And from that curiosity is born something in and of itself that is incredibly instrumental and powerful to you. I say that because the North Node is also in Pisces. And so this is not just a situation where, oh no, there's tension within our desire to speak freely and engage in these philosophical topics with, authority systems and what have you. It's meant to activate something within you so that you can take that with you moving forward. Remain flexible where possible, remain adaptable where possible, and be curious about what it is that this situation is actually wanting to bring into your life that would not have come about unless these specific circumstances were happening. That's something that you can take with you in any other situation in life that is uncomfortable or confusing or unexpected in a very disruptive way. You can say, well, what is this wanting to bring to me that it needed to happen in such a chaotic or disruptive way that otherwise I wouldn't have come across it? That might be a new tool for you to show up with a little bit more sovereignty, or being able to advocate for yourself in a stronger way than you've ever had to. It's a growth edge. So that's Tuesday. Nothing happens on the 31st, really. Worth it to mention that the moon will be in Taurus for most of the day, and around the time where we'll start to celebrate New Year's Eve with counting down and all of that good stuff, the moon will be in Gemini and it will form a trine to Pluto in Aquario. So there is this theme of the collective coming together in this shared experience of celebrating a new era and sharing concepts and ideas of what the future holds for humanity in this moment in time. There's a theme of a collectiveness here, the collective consciousness and the collective unconscious coming to play for us to really not just see it as, oh, a new year for me, but this is another year for humanity. Are we doing okay? Are we behaving well? Are we in relationship with the earth and with the animal kingdoms and the insect kingdoms and the plant kingdoms? What are we bringing to this reality? It's something that you can think about. Obviously, I'm aware that not every single human is going to be thinking about the new year in that regard, but with this trine to Pluto in Aquario, there is the opportunity for us to think about these things in a little bit of a deeper, more collective way. Thursday, January 1st, 2026, the Sun in Capricorn is going to make a sextile to the North Node in Pisces. This offers to us an illumination and insight about the path that we're on and the path ahead. We may not be able to see all of the turns. Maybe the path goes a little bit down a hill and you don't know what's down there, and then it goes up a hill and you don't know what's up there, but you can see a few steps ahead. And this illumination can offer you insight into what helps you feel your most radiant and your most confident as you take a step forward. Whether that is taking up more space or just reconnecting to a part of yourself that feels luminous. When do you feel your most uninhibited, your most loved and adored version of yourself? And how can that support you in stepping forward towards whatever it is you're working for? Whether that be a specific career or a health goal or relocation, a financial goal, whatever it might be, how you feel about yourself and how you emanate the light that you have within you is critical in the formula to moving towards your purpose and your path in a way that actually is enjoyable and where you're not just thinking about the destination and you are fully immersed and enjoying and taking pleasure in the journey. Which this will tie into a transit that we're having later in the day. But before I jump there, Mercury in Sagittarius is going to make a square to Neptune in Pisces. Again, Mercury made a square to Saturn in Pisces, so there were some frustrations, a need to think outside of the box, a need to work with energies that are a bit tense or a bit heavy. Neptune has been in the play the whole time, likely adding confusion, blurred boundaries, and a need for escapism because maybe what you're dealing with is just way too much for what you're used to. Know that communications will settle, and if possible, again, remain adaptable, lean into your capacity to problem solve, to be creative, or at the very least, channel your frustrations into a creative project. If there's something that you've been wanting to try or do for a really long time and you've just never had the time to do it, make the time and surprise yourself in how you can alchemize the feelings of a tricky and frustrating situation into something that you created that is beautiful and that can inspire you moving forward. Then Mercury is going to enter Capricorn. So we go from this very playful, philosophic, creative, out-of-the-box thinking and communicating to very practical, pragmatic, methodical, strategic, and commitment-oriented Mercury. So our conversations and our ideas and our ways of thinking are going to be very in the moment and very geared towards what makes sense. Capricorn is a Saturn-ruled sign, and so there's an element of time that might be weaving into the way that we see things or the way that we're considering things. We might have timelines a little bit more front of mind, or we might simply just want to make sure that when we're speaking about something or speaking to something, there's a purpose to it. We can become a lot more intentional here. And because Saturn is in Pisces, there is still this theme of like Jupiterian energy, right? Where it is very like dreamy and expansive. So while Saturn is still in Pisces, for me, anything that is taking place in Capricorn has an undertone of what are you doing to get towards your dreams? What are you doing to untap your creativity in a way that feels intentional and structured? This world and this current reality that is created for the collective does not emphasize or give credit to the fact that humanity's creativity is integral to its survival. And I think that Saturn in Pisces has really brought that to the forefront. You cannot just go through the motions and live a mundane reality and expect for life to flourish. There is structure within creativity that breeds life. And so while Mercury is in Capricorn, there might be a sense of you sitting with that and asking yourself, well, what does that mean for me? And what else? Like, what else is there within that theme for me? We don't have very much time left with Saturn in Pisces, so this is the time to start to gather our thoughts about this. We will have Mercury go into Aquarius and another Saturn-ruled sign, and we can start to, then relate these ideas maybe to the collective or humanity at large. But for now, we do want to think about it in a very practical and pragmatic way. Then Venus in Capricorn makes a sextile to the North Node in Pisces. So again, finding this sense of pleasure in the journey and in your call and what you feel like your purpose is. We are able to find beauty in our commitments. And I don't just mean being in a committed relationship, commitments to ourselves. I commit to working out my body every few times a week, or I commit to saving X amount of money every paycheck, and finding the beauty in that, finding the beauty in discipline. With the North Node, again, themes of importance and significance are really at play within the greater scheme of our life. So something really beautiful could start on this day. This could be the beginning of something really long-lasting. On Saturday the 3rd, we have the full moon in Cancer, and this full moon is happening at 13 degrees. So if you have 13 degrees in Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, and Aries, then this full moon is going to be particularly pointed for you. Full moons are a really good opportunity to release and to transform stagnant and old energy. And because this is happening in the sign of Cancer, this lunation is a good opportunity for you to let go of anything that is not nourishing you or your dreams for the future. This moon is in opposition, of course, to everything in Capricorn right now: Mercury, Venus, the Sun, Mars. It's also in a trine to the Pisces house of your chart, containing Saturn, Neptune, and the North Node. And it's in a sextile to Uranus and Taurus. So pay attention to your Cancer house, Capricorn, Pisces, and Taurus, because this is where themes are really going to be bouncing off of each other. But ultimately, this lunation feels really beautiful to me. It is co-present with Jupiter, and Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. And so there might be a lot of big feelings with this lunation, perhaps even grief, as you let go of outdated ways of thinking or feeling or processing that are not aligned with how you know you need to move forward. And in order for you to fully land in the present, you have to really honor and grieve the past. And that's okay. But at this time, there are certain things that are showing up for you that are showing you if you want to get to X, you cannot move forward with A and B. Or if you want to get to this location, you have to abandon this habit or this way of seeing things or this way of speaking to yourself even. And that's not always an easy thing, but this lunation is really beautiful and can really help you process a lot of those emotions or those realizations in a way that is nourishing to you and your body. So if you feel like crying, if you feel like grieving, if you feel an abundance of emotion, whether heavy, sad, or optimistic and light, lean into it. This is in an opposition to Venus and Capricorn. We have the two benefics kind of at play here. And so there's something really constructive here. And though this is a pretty intense full moon, it is the beginning of 2026 for a lot of people. And this is already a time where people are contemplating what they want to let go and what they want to bring in. So use this time to fully release what no longer serves you. And that could be getting rid of old clothes, donating some to others so that you can make space for yourself in your path forward. This could look like abandoning negative habits, not getting on your phone first thing in the morning, and meditating instead, or going to bed by a certain time so that you feel more taken care of and more able to show up for yourself throughout the day. Whatever this looks like, I think that it's really supportive and really constructive and a nice little wink from the universe to help us move forward into 2026. I'm going to draw a card to help us navigate the energies at large and whatever it is that we most need to know. We have the Page of Swords. And the Page of Swords is a messenger showing you what needs to be cut away. This is an encouragement to follow your gut, and if you feel like something needs to get cut away from your life, just do the thing. This is confirmation. Whatever feelings you're getting, obviously sit with them, consider a situation, don't burn a bridge, just really make sure that it makes sense. And then say, okay, I'm really feeling like, for example, this relationship has got to go. Okay, how can I end this cleanly so that I move forward feeling super clear about this and there's no weird karma or drama or density to it? How can this be a clean cut? And the Page of Swords encourages us to think about how we do cut things out of our life that no longer serve us, because that can be jarring to our nervous system when we're so used to moving in a certain way, or we're used to having someone in our life and then all of a sudden they're not there. How do you reconcile that? How do you step into your new reality? There is a shock to the system, and that's normal and natural, but how do you soothe yourself through that, and how do you get yourself through that while still making that difficult decision? And it's not always easy to cut someone out or cut out a habit or a way of thinking or a way of speaking about things. Maybe you're someone who makes a lot of self-deprecating jokes and you're like, I don't like how that feels. I don't want to do that anymore. And shifting out of that and then reconciling with, okay, well, that's not who I am anymore. So who am I? Who is this version of me that speaks at the very least neutrally about themselves? And what if they spoke kindly about themselves? And, really just sitting with that process and not being so quick to rush forward. Because if we can sit at the threshold of the changes that we're making, there is so much gold for us there, or spiritual gold. you could say. So that's the card for the week. This entire reading, all of this astrology and these messages just feel, again, really supportive. And it is a distortion to believe that we are ever not supported in this reality because, well, I'm a firm believer that there's always support for us. There's always help. There's always love and beauty around us if only we can allow it for ourselves and find it. And sometimes it's really easy to find, and other times it's really hard. And I understand that. And if you had a really challenging 2025, I hope that you have been able to extract the beauty and the pleasure and the joy from it as much as possible because you deserve that. And 2026 is likely not going to be a consistent rainbows and butterflies kind of vibe, but it also shouldn't be a we're cooked chat kind of vibe either. And don't fall for either narrative. They're not helpful to you. Allow yourself to step into each day with a purpose and an intention to be in your sovereignty, to listen to your inner authority, your inner compass, and whatever it is that comes your way, using your tools and your presence to lean into how to be creative about a situation, how to love more in a situation, how to expand in a situation, because we don't really have control about the things that happen in our life. And I learned that last year really, really well. But it's how you can respond to it and show up in the moment and soothe yourself and be in harmony with others that can make all the difference. And so, with all of that said, I hope that you have a really happy new Gregorian year and all of your festivities. I hope that you get to spend it with loved ones and that this year be really illuminating and beautiful for you. There's a lot of astrology ahead, obviously, and always. So we will flow with the waves. If you are interested in having a consultation and learning a little bit more about what the year ahead means for you, you can head over to my website at audisolares.net, which will be linked below, and we can schedule a call and we can dive into what you can expect, how to prepare, and what to look forward to, and where you can be a little bit more resourced. Thank you so much for watching this Starot Talk, and I will see you very soon. Cuídense.